How many times have you yourself said, or have you heard somebody else say, I had no idea how difficult the postpartum period would be. I had no idea how hard parenting was until I was doing it myself. I know for me, once I became a parent, I looked around at everyone who had become a parent before me and thought, how? How are you still doing all the things you were doing before? And then you added this extra intense aspect of your life. Because in my experience, and in the experience of many of my clients, motherhood, parenthood becomes all consuming. And there are studies to show that the postpartum period doesn't just last 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, but that it can take a full 2 years for your body to return to what it might have been like before. And I don't mean shape, I just mean the way you feel. For some people, more sleep happens more quickly, and for others, it really can take a few years because infant and toddler sleep cycles are different than adult sleep cycles, and because the expectations of baby sleep in our society do not match the biological needs of babies. And not only that, it's not just about expectations, it's about how our society is set up to support people who are caring for children. You've heard me talk about it many times. I'm going to say it again, that humans evolved in large social groups where there were many people available to care for each baby and where families cared for the children of other families. It was not dependent on just one or two people to care for all the children. And lots of older children in the community cared for lots of younger children. It was much more communal. We were way less isolated. And our lives were not as separated, work over here and family life over here. It was a bit more combined. And so we had opportunities to take naps during the day with our kids, to sleep with our babies at night because the bedding was different, which impacts breastfeeding. So there is so much that goes on in the postpartum period in modern society that makes it difficult for us to actually enjoy the experience. How many of us have gotten to this time in the postpartum period where we felt like, oh no, what have I done? And I know that is not everyone's experience. I know it is not true for everyone to feel that sense of doubt once the difficulty sets in. I also know that it does not feel difficult for all people, that there might be aspects that feel difficult or there might be hard days, but it's not as hard for everybody. So I'm going to acknowledge that. If your experience has been different from mine or from those of many of the people I've interviewed or many of my clients I've had over the years, that's okay. Whatever you experience is normal because you are human and it is part of the normal experience, even if that means that you had a postpartum mood disorder or you're worried about postpartum mood disorders because you have mood disorders in general or because you have other factors which mean that you might more easily develop postpartum mood disorders. When I first returned to work, I had no idea how I was going to manage going to work, handling drop-offs and pickups, and doing all the other duties I needed to do, like get dinner on the table. If you are in this situation, I've got a solution for you. Go to feastandfettle.com, where you can select from a menu of delicious options and have home-cooked meals delivered right to your front door. Imagine taking meal planning off your plate, taking grocery shopping off your plate for those dinners, and knowing that all you have to do is pick up your baby, get home, and heat and serve meals that you have selected for your family. If you live in Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and now Maine, go to feastandfettle.com and use my code MILK MILK, to get $30 off your first order. You've got nothing to lose. I just want you to know it's all a part of the human experience, and whatever has happened for you, it's normal. However, could there be a way to mitigate these experiences outside of moving to a country that provides more supports or moving into a commune where all the responsibilities are shared? Because the reality is, for most of us, this isn't possible. We have already kind of established a timeline for our lives. We've established work routines. We've bought houses. We might be settled into a community. And so it's not always possible to make radical changes so that our lives feel more manageable once we start our families. So is there a way to feel more prepared? Is there a way to come into the postpartum period not having experienced it, but knowing that you have tools in your toolbox that will help you feel like, you know what? Whatever happens, I am going to have tools that will help me to adjust to my reality, that will help me take stock of what I'm going through, that will help me recognize signs of perinatal mood disorder, that will help me to know if my experience is actually so difficult that I need to seek out professional help, whether that's lactation help or a postpartum doula or a maid or some sort of service that cooks the dinners for you. Because the reality is, when you are feeding a baby 8 to 12 times a day and then changing their diaper and helping them nap and trying to spend quality time with them and trying to get them to all their provider appointments, trying to go to all your provider appointments. How do you do all of that and still maintain your household like you did before? When you start to map that out, you realize it's actually not possible. So then what are the ways that you can prepare for this big change your mindset, change your ideas about the postpartum period so that when you enter it, you don't feel like you're drowning? I have ideas about this. Not only am I an international board certified lactation consultant, not only am I a doula, I am also a certified childbirth educator. And I believe strongly in choices. I believe strongly in choices for you when it comes to your birth experience. I believe strongly in choices for you when it comes to how you feed your baby. And I believe strongly in informed consent. We cannot truly consent to that which we do not understand. So if you want to understand more about how your choices during pregnancy and during the birth don't just impact that moment, but impact what is to come in the postpartum period, I want you to sign up for my childbirth education course. If you are wondering if there are tools you can add to your toolbox, if there is planning you can do to make this big life transition, probably one of the biggest you will ever have, more manageable, I'm here to tell you yes. I'm also here to tell you I have never seen a childbirth education course that approaches this period from this lens. The birth lasts, in some cases, a couple of hours, in other cases, a few days. And then you have the immediate postpartum period where your providers are still caring for you, and then you are on your own. So yes, the birth is important. What we do during the birth is important. The choices we make during the birth is important. And we cannot make those choices without fully understanding why those choices impact us then and later. And then we have so many choices about the postpartum period. So if this is you, or if you went through a difficult postpartum period and you were thinking, yes, I wish I had this, and you know somebody who is currently pregnant, why not gift them? with my childbirth education course. It is 50% off right now, and you can sign up right now. It'll be launching in early 2024 at this 50% off. It'll be a live class. You will get to attend the class live, virtually over Zoom. It's not going to be a thing where I talk at you and everybody else is on mute. It will be a thing where we are all there collaborating, doing activities together, brainstorming together, getting to know your classmates. And then guess what? You will be a cohort, and we will get to reunite after everybody has had their babies and talk about the experience, debrief the birth, debrief the baby feeding experience. And for the first 5 people that sign up, I am going to offer one free live virtual consultation. You can choose to make this private, or if you would like to do the consultation for the podcast, you will have the opportunity to do that so that others can learn from your questions and your experiences. So rush to my website. It's linked in the show notes, and sign up for the course. Once you sign up, you'll get all the information you need about where to go, when it starts, all of that good stuff. Can't wait to hear from you, and can't wait to help you navigate this change in your life in a way that makes you feel really, really good.